Good morning, Burbs. My name is Azlar, and with the release date of PSO2 New Genesis now confirmed for June 9th, as a celebration for that, I've reached out to multiple content creators throughout Twitch and YouTube to ask about very fun things to send off PSO2. I highly suggest you go check out all the content creators featured on this video, as they're all really cool people and also acquaintances and friends of mine. So without wasting more of your time, let's ask some questions. First question, what is the most broken class in PSO2?
There was a point while I was learning PSO2 that for every class I was convinced it was broken, as in extremely powerful, but if I had to choose just one across the whole game, it would be Summoner because it seems really difficult to balance.
I think the most broken class would have to be the Summoner. It does really good single target and AoE damage, and if you play your cards right, you'll basically be immortal.
I would say Étoile. Étoile does a lot of damage and is really tanky and doesn't die very easily.
I think Luster and Phantom, they're both really strong, so either or could really be contenders for that one.
Hunter Étoile, simply due to the fact that the class combination is a borderline unkillable class combo with automate and the defense of both Hunter and Étoile.
As far as which is broken, I couldn't really tell you. I don't really play the classes that in depth, but at the moment I'm just having a lot of fun with Force Phantom.
OG Fighter Hunter is still a thing.
Gunner. Gunner is always broken.
For me, that's Étoile. Specifically, Hunter Étoile. That class is just invincible.
I guess right away, the first thing that comes up into mind is Hunter Étoile, mainly because it just can't die. I mean, other than, I guess, Étoile, really, because again, it can't die and it can deal a decent amount of damage.
I'd have to say Luster or Hero due to their massive stats and sheer attack speed. They can pump out tons of damage in a small amount of time.
That would have to be Luster.
I would have to say Luster. I'd find it difficult to find a piece of content that Luster can't perform well in.
I'd have to say Etwo is the most broken. I play double sabers when I need to farm solo content like Mask, and I feel like I can just absolutely disrespect the bosses when I play Etwo.
I would have to say, in terms of overall power for most broken class, I would have to say Luster, without a doubt.
I would say Gunner is one of the most broken classes in the game.
I don't think, in my honest opinion, there is like a class or class combination that is the most broken. I think it's all about player skill and knowledge.
Any Gunner combination, because Gunner's the best. Just kidding. In all seriousness though, I think all four of the Silent classes are the strongest in the game. I feel Ranger's up there as well.
I personally do think that the Ranger Hunter class is one of the more broken classes, but that's also because it's my preference of what I like to play in game.
I think the most broken class in PSO2 is Luster. It's just the amount of options and attack power just make it kind of OP.
Honestly, I think just about everyone has around the same idea or so, which is very cool. But let's see what they think about the second question, which is, what is your favorite content to do in PSO2?
My favorite content to do in PSO2, I would have to say, would be solo quests. And it's probably what's helped me become a better player in general when it comes to PSO2, and I've had the most fun doing it.
All about the fashion. Fashion is the end game. I mean, just going around making different characters out of one character has always been kind of fun.
Well, of course fashion is the true endgame, but I really enjoy Divide Quest for being so diverse.
Ultimately, it's to play with my teammates, the people that I just bumped into in-game, and playing with my pals.
As much as I'm drawn to PSO2's combat, my favorite content would have to be fashion. I often find myself spending more time in the salon than I do anything else.
And before people start calling me Kirito, I prefer to do solo boss kills or trying to get a fast time on the trigger. I like the challenge of it.
Endless Quest. I think it's the deepest and most interesting quest.
Well, it is true that fashion is endgame. However, there is no type of fashion that is as free to play as it is in PSO2.
Boss rush activities are my favorite. It's always enjoyable to be dodging attacks like a bullet hell game, all while triggering boss mechanics and hitting sick damage combos.
Raid boss emergency quests and solo duels. Foul like honey, I love you.
Urgent quests, mainly because they each have their own individual set of mechanics that you really can't do anywhere else.
I would probably say doing quest triggers with my friends in Alliance. Being able to form a group and challenge yourselves against AI is just one of the best experiences that you can ever have in life.
I'm a huge fan of large PvE battles, so going against these huge bosses in the emergency quests is my personal favorite content to do.
The combination of the unique music that you can find there, the feel of the varied areas, as well as the variety of enemies, just made it an extremely fun place to be, whether you were on the coast, in the seabed, or in the floating facility.
So I really love a good boss fight. Usually whatever game I play, raiding is my favorite part of it. So I'd probably have to say for PSO2, Urgent Quest would be my favorite, since they're the most similar thing to raids we have.
My favorite content would probably be some of the urgent quests, but outside of that, I just really like farming Meseta with daily and weekly quests. I also really like Battle Arena for some reason. It's pretty scuffed, but I had a lot of fun with it.
New content, especially new urgent quests, like when True Profound Darkness first came out and we had to figure out how to do it, that was probably my favorite moment.
Probably have to be a fixing and fashion.
I love episode 3's story, so from time to time I actually catch myself playing the story quest, The Reason Behind Your Birth. It's a really good one.
Currently, the favorite content I like to do is Divide and Endless, although I have a love-hate relationship with Endless right now.
PSO2 is kind of the game where it's like, hey, you can do this, you can do that. If you like this, this is there for you. If you like that, that's there for you. So that's always really cool to see people liking different things, you know, and then they find their own fits for what they like the most. But if you could change one thing about the game, what would it be?
If I could change any one thing about the game, it would be to be able to play with people on different ships more easily. In this day and age of gaming, I just think it's really silly to split up the community like this.
After playing the New Genesis closed beta, I think there's a lot of quality of life changes that could come to PSO2 from New Genesis. Quality of life changes to a fixing are huge. The photon dash would also be a good feature, as just using like a photon art or a tech to dash is a little bit funky.
The sound desperately needs to be fixed because weak point sounds are way too loud. But for global specifically, I would have to say the Helenbathana katana that gives Asagiri, also known as Mistreaver, needs to be added to the game.
The way that the UI is, making it a bit more condensed so that new players, such as myself, just making it easier to kind of navigate and go through.
I would like to see more support classes in the game.
That's a really hard question for me to answer too. I mean, I guess the biggest thing that I would change in PSO2 would be the drop tables for every mission. I guess whenever something new comes out, I would rather them actually go back and change the drop tables, so that way everything is more relevant. And this way there's like less dead content, you know?
I'd go with full customizable keybinds and more stable graphics during very crowded, chaotic instances because Z-aim feels a bit sluggish during it.
I've always felt the camera was just a bit too close to the character, and I've always wanted to pull it out further. While there are mods that let the player do this, I wish this wasn't a necessary thing.
The UI. If you're not familiar or not using keyboard shortcuts, it's incredibly rough.
Buff Gunner, of course. But all jokes aside, I'd like the starting or entry point for newer players to be more accommodating so that more people will stick to the game.
I never have the best fixing experience, so if they could make it a little more forgiving, that would be nice.
I want more interesting gimmicks and things and more collab events. Actual collab events you can physically do in-game, like the Final Fantasy XIV event, even the Evangelion event.
I would have rewritten the story to include some sort of nod to the first Phantasy Star Online to connect the two games. Or add Jagos back as an existing rare enemy.
Probably the barrier to entry. I feel like there's a lot of archaic systems that are currently set up in PSO2 at the moment that need a lot of explanation, that granted are explained in game, but they aren't as easy to understand when you see them.
If I could change one thing about the game, it'd probably be the new player experience. When I first started playing, I referred probably like more than 10 of my friends to the game, and they all quit because they couldn't figure it out.
I would definitely love to see an improvement in the graphics, especially after playing New Genesis right now. I am a little bit spoiled, and going back to base PSO2 is a little bit jarring because we don't have the graphics update yet.
One thing that I would like to see changed is how I can currently only match with players from my own ship. I sometimes wish to play with players from other ships as well.
If I could change anything about the game, it would be to add more boss rush quests.
I don't have anything in specific that I would like to change about PSO2. I think the game is really good at the moment, and after playing New Genesis, I just noticed that the game's gonna be improving 1,000-fold better. Like, the sky's the limit after New Genesis launch.
For me personally, it'd be a fixing. I don't really like a fixing, and also my bank space is crying because of it.
Honestly, I really hope New Genesis does fix some of these issues, but on that note though, what are you looking forward to the most in PSO2 New Genesis?
I'm all about that battle content, so I'm really excited about that.
I just want change, I want new things, I want a challenge. So hopefully PSO2 NGS can deliver that.
What I'm looking forward to in NGS is the new class combinations.
After playing the closed beta test, I'd say I'm excited to share my love of Phantasy Star Online with even more friends and family, since New Genesis looks overall more streamlined and accessible.
This one's super easy. The class updates, because certain classes, especially like Hunter and Force, just feel dated compared to some of the successors.
I really do look forward to the different types of cooperation that will occur. I love the fact that in non-combat exploration that there is a maximum of 32 players, if I'm not mistaken. That's a huge upgrade from just like 12 players. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing a lot more people on the playfield.
I'm kind of looking forward to just how much easier it's going to be to gear up in comparison to base PSO2, but we don't really know how the end game works. But at least the early game just seems a lot more intuitive in terms of upgrading your gear, affixing, enhancing stuff, unlocking the potential. It's just a lot smoother. I also just really like the fact that I can run around the countryside, farm materials. If I need those materials, I don't need to go and wait for an urgent quest to roll around.
The thing I'm looking forward to the most in New Genesis is definitely the combat. Yeah.
The thing I'm looking forward to the most right now in NGS has been the large-scale instances have been very fun, and you get to interact with a lot of people, which is great.
What I'm looking forward to the most in New Genesis is how the lore is being expanded. We've already seen that they're dropping little clues into the world, such as how the cloth on the old boat has the same hexagon seen on the dolls. I hope Sega continues to sprinkle little things like this throughout the world, so that those that are paying attention can have a deeper understanding of the game's lore.
The combat. If it feels good, it'll carry the rest of the game for me.
Fashion with finger movement. In all seriousness, after being able to play the new Genesis Closed Beta 2, Cocoon Quests are my favorite piece of content so far, and I can't wait to see what challenges they throw at us.
I would definitely like to see the Braver class in New Genesis, as well as just having my character in New Genesis and being able to progress and play the game and, power up and feel good.
I'm probably most looking forward to the cocoons and also different urgent quests. I got to try out some of them in the beta and they were a lot of fun, and I really just want to see what kind of boss content we get with NGS.
I have to say the thing I'm looking forward to most in NGS is just a refreshing take on all the different classes. I'm really big on combat, so I'm going to enjoy a lot of how all the weapons play and how they're going to be playing differently. I mean, that and the game looks amazing.
Playing Gunner and Ranger, I was able to try out all the classes in the most recent NGS closed beta test, and I had the most fun with the range classes. I loved all the changes and additions compared to old PSO2, so I thought they were much more fun and interesting than the other classes. Also, I love the environment and exploration a lot.
What I'm looking forward to the most in NGS are all the possible class combinations in the weapon combining system. I think base PSO2 ended up being a little more cookie cutter than many expected, but NGS might turn that all around.
The graphic engine, the exploration, the fact that we're gonna have like this whole open field that we can explore, discover, trade information, it's gonna be amazing.
I'm looking forward to being a part of an MMO during its launch and all the new players that come along with that.
In New Genesis, I'm really looking forward to exploring the whole new world and seeing everything, visiting the various landmarks and points of interest and so on.
Now, you didn't think I wouldn't ask this question, right? Who is your favorite Azlar character?
Of course you'd ask the question, what's my favorite RC character, huh? I mean, I guess it'd have to be a tie between Kasumi and Aaron. I mean, they just speak to me the most.
We have to go with Arcelia, because that character is like my official tour guide of the Japan server. My character always ends up getting in trouble on the Japan server with the foreign customs and intimidating lobby actions, so it's nice to have someone to hide behind when Small Ranger gets overwhelmed.
I'd choose Azalea, because she's a cutie.
My favorite RC character is, I think, Sylvia, because she's just the cool-looking girl next door.
My favorite one of your characters is actually Sylvia, because she reminds me of a character named Feli from Chrome Shell Regios, plus she's Luster, which is awesome.
Favorite Azlar character? I like the look and vibe of Aini. I think that's how it's pronounced. Close second would be Mitsuki.
My favorite Azlar characters would have to be Azel and Kieran. Azel's mask, facial markings, and headpiece reminds me a lot of my own main cast. And then for Kieran, I've always loved the way her eyes came out, but the whole character is very well put together in general. She was also one of the first characters of Azalera's I remember seeing in a thumbnail, so she's basically what introduced me to his content.
While I support Kieran as a fellow bouncer main, Sylvia wins for the lore and the midriff.
My favorite Azalera character must be Sylvia. She's just so elegant.
My favorite character would have to be Hime. Come on. How can you deny those beautiful golden eyes and those beautiful short black locks in her hair? I think she's very attractive. She's very cute.
They're all so cute, but my favorite has to be Kasumi. I really like their accessories and colors.
Azul, because she's a Concealed Gunner.
I would say Erin. Just read her bio.
Favorite RC character would have to be Mitsuki. I'm a fan of like the nerdy girl look. Though I do have a soft spot for Azul just because that was the first character that I saw of RC's characters just looking at videos on YouTube way back in the day.
Who's your favorite Azlar character? It would have to be Sylvia, hands down.
Kieran would probably have to be my favorite. I really like the contrast of the yellow eyes against the blue hair, and I always loved the twin pigtail braids. I also may be a little bit biased since she's a bouncer.
My favorite Azlar character is probably Charlotte, just because I actually started playing PSO2 as a Braver, and I found a gameplay video of her playing as a Braver Hunter, which made me like lose my mind with that gameplay. It was amazing.
I'm not that big into fashion, to be honest, but of the characters available, I like Azale the most. That may be more because I like the cast look of them, though.
Kasumi and Mitsuki are definitely both of my top two, although I can't pick one over the other.
My favorite Azalea character is Aaron, because let's be honest, any hero character is the best character.
Honestly, I should have been recording my face while doing all this video editing because all of you have no idea how much I'm just like squealing and flustered and blushing and everything all behind the camera right here. I did not asking a question like this would make me so happy. But also at the same time, I'm also here like, no, Kyokan Hiyori, it's okay, we still love you too. But that aside for now, I'll go cry about it later. But I just want to say once again, thank you so much for all the creators and everyone really just spending their time to work with me on this video. It's basically the first big like PSO2 content creator community group collab kind of thing, and I just really wanted to make it happen to really just give everyone like the exposure they deserve and stuff. Especially with New Genesis literally coming out in like a week. I think it is the best time for us as a community and fans to really help rally around all our favorite content creators and also just like perk up the community and just have something fun in general. And so with that, I'll leave you here with the final words from all our content creator friends.
A small word of advice, there's not only one way to tackle content. Branch out, thirst for new knowledge, and post some guides / write-ups or videos that explain your approach. Never waste time and effort arguing with pubs about anything, and instead use that energy to construct more resources for them to stumble upon. Other than that, this community has been so warm and welcoming, and I appreciate all of you for making Phantasy Star Online a great place to game.
I'd like to humbly ask the PSO2 community to give us content creators some slack when it comes to covering NGS content. We're, for the most part, all going to be starting and learning this brand new game together, so we may get a few things wrong at the beginning. On top of that, like many new games, lots of things will likely be tweaked or eventually outright changed. So please bear with us while we all try to figure out NGS together.
PSO2 is a game, everyone. Please just have fun. Don't worry so much about the meta. The meta doesn't really matter. If you're not having fun, then it's not worth it. Just play how you want to play, and that is the beauty of PSO2. You have the freedom to do whatever you want and have fun however you want. Okay?
Glory to wait a second. That's the wrong game. Matoya's best waifu. Don't at me.
Hero is a class, and we stand doo-doo. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Just have fun with it. Take the time to just take in what you were doing over the last year or 8 years, depending on where you were. Consider maybe fixing or upgrading some low-level weapons and units to take across with you for New Genesis, especially if they have a really cool-looking model that you really like. Low-level stuff does look okay in New Genesis, but you probably want to go in with that complete control of your fashion, right?
Global PSO2 community, grind to shine.
I don't have anything really profound to say, so, stay funky, y'all.
My final words for the community are just stay healthy, drink water, and let's enjoy New Genesis together.
I mean, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is thank you for accepting me, if you know, in any sort of way. But if I had to say anything else, it would be to anybody who's really out there trying to compare content creators together, saying like, hey, you're better than the other, just don't do that. You sound crazy. A majority of us are in this because we enjoy and love PSO2, so that we're gonna continue making content and sharing the love regardless. So there's really no reason to compare us. We're mostly players like you, despite the fact that, well, we have a little bit more influence than the average person, I guess.
We are ARCs. Don't be afraid to say hello if you see me around Ship 2NA, and please look forward to New Genesis.
Just remember to have fun and to enjoy yourself in NGS.
For JP, I look forward to seeing more cursed creations you guys put together for the characters that are created for NGS. And for Global, I look forward to just playing more Global. In general, I look forward to the fact that we're all going to be getting new content and just experiencing all of it and seeing everyone's responses. And, of course, bringing you guys new content as well.
I've been playing online games since elementary school, and I definitely have to say PSO2 has been the best community I've found so far. I'm really excited to go into NGS with everyone, and I can't wait to make more memories and friends.
When it comes to MPAs, try to focus more so on yourself instead of what other people are doing or bringing to MPAs, because there's always some way to get better at the game. It's a better mentality as a whole.
The Phantasy Star series is a series worth looking into further if you've only ever played Phantasy Star Online 2. From the classic series featuring the Algol star system, the original PSO series featuring Ragol and Coral, as well as Universe featuring the Goral series, there's something for everyone in this game series. Whether it's a classic turn-based RPG, another online action RPG, text adventures, and even a card battle game, there's something for everyone in this series. Dive into the rabbit hole if you haven't yet.
And final words about the PSO2 community is that it is one of the best communities I've seen, I've been part of. Like, most of the communities, we have a lot of toxicity. Like, in fight, you know, it's terrible. But PSO2 community is a place where everybody can be whatever they want. It's just one of the best experiences that I can see about the game. And also, that represents the community. Like, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. That's the good thing about an RPG game.
I recommend trying Gunner when NGS comes out. It's a class I think everyone can have fun with because it shows off the stylish combat of PSO2 while having many game mechanics to enjoy.
Thank you for making such a welcoming and accepting community for me. As a PS2 streamer to be in, I have met many amazing people in this community, and I'm very excited to meet more when NGS comes out. I hope that it brings back a lot of people who have stopped the game temporarily, or to bring in many new players. And I also want to be like the original PSO2 players and streamers and welcome them into the community as well. Thank you!
My final words to the community will always just be to have fun, play your way.
And with that, I also leave you all with my last words too. All of you take care of yourself, and don't forget to smile! I'll see you in Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Thank you for taking the time to watch my videos.